Well, welcome back, students. This is our last video lecture on a chapter on Earth cycles about how the matter and energy of planet Earth are constantly cycling in ways that sometimes is not so obvious to us, but that's because we live on a much shorter time frame than does our planet. In this video lecture, we're going to talk about the rock cycle. We will rock you. Let's start our discussion of the rock cycle with Bill Haley and the comments. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. And then, of course, Bo Diddley. Bo Diddley, Bo Diddley, have you heard? Bo Diddley, go run and go. Make it pretty, baby, up Sunday go. And then we have, of course, Chuck Berry and Jimi Hendrix. You must include Jimi Hendrix in the rock cycle. And then, of course, you can't have a rock cycle without the Stones. You must have Keith Richards and Mick Jagger if you're studying the rock cycle. And then Eric Clapton, Eddie Van Halen, and then The Who with Pete Townsend and his windmill riffs. I got the wrong slides, don't I? This lecture is the wrong lecture. Just a second, let me get back. Let me orient myself. Okay, there's also a rock cycle, though we hardly notice it. Mountains and rocks are in a very slow cycle of building up and being torn down. There are three major types of rocks. Igneous rock, which comes from the magma underground as lava reaches the surface and it hardens. If it hardens underground, it may be called basalt or granite. Secondly, we have sedimentary rock, which is formed from the weathering of igneous rock and other types of rock as they wash down or deposit often in the mouths of rivers. These include sandstone, shale, and limestone. And then metamorphic rock, which is formed from sedimentary rock as it is buried underground and subjected to high temperatures and pressure, and it is hardened. Sandstone becomes hardened to quartzite, and limestone becomes converted and hardened into marble. And here's some photos that explain what I just said. Metamorphism of igneous and sedimentary rock converts it to metamorphic rock. For example, sandstone is a softer sedimentary rock. If it is subjected to high pressure and temperature, it becomes hardened to quartzite. Similarly, limestone is also a softer sedimentary rock. When it is subjected to high pressure and temperature, it becomes hardened to marble. The rock cycle actually has a number of transitions between one form and another as you go from igneous to sedimentary to metamorphic rock. This graphic illustrates this. If we start with magma underground and perhaps have a volcanic eruption, that lava can be hardened to igneous rock. The igneous rock can be subjected to weathering and erosion, converting it to sedimentary rock, such as limestone or sandstone. Either igneous rock or sedimentary rock under conditions of high pressure and temperature can be hardened to metamorphic rock. And the metamorphic rock can also be weathered and eroded and converted to sedimentary rock. So the point is that these three principal types of rock can be interconverted over very long periods of time. So while we think that rocks are pretty solid and stable, over very long periods of time, they can be converted from one form to the other. Or in other words, it's all dynamic. So this is the end of the chapter on Earth cycles. After you complete a short quiz, you'll be able to print some study notes. Now let's conclude with a little film of Peter Townsend from The Who and his windmill guitar action.